Welcome, all you business geeks, to the Business Geeks podcast. It's an entrepreneurial show where three friends geek out loud and proud on everybody's business. I'm Super Joe Pardo of superjoepardo.com and indiepodcasters.com. I'm joined by my two wonderful co-hosts, Jennifer Crawford, the co-founder, yes, the co-founder of Sparent.co, and Samantha Riley of SamanthaRiley.global. This week, we are discussing social media and whether it's good for our health or for our business. You know, there's definitely a little bit of mixture in there, especially in some of our businesses. And we have a who's getting our lunch money this week that includes lots of veggies. So, Jen, how are you feeling? How's your vacation there? Obviously, you're not at home
look at that.
the moment.
Yes, I am in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. So I took a social distance vacation, I guess. I mean, I've been like inside, like a lot of us, for like the past 6 months, and we finally decided, we need to just get outside and do some hiking, get some fresh mountain air. So I'm in the mountains of Virginia. So if I'm a little more airheaded than normal, it's because of the elevation. It's different here. It's different. The air is so pure. The water comes from springs. There are wild ponies frolicking around. I mean, they're real wild ponies. It is a different world. But hey Sharon, we have been hiking and, climbing rocks and just enjoying ourselves. So it's been a great escape. Although I almost forgot that I was part of a podcast. almost.
Okay. But that's okay. We reminded you that you were.
Yes. Thanks, Sam.
And that you have a great team around you helping you get this podcast going. So
yes,
it's all good. I'm glad you're enjoying
grateful.
Your vacation.
Thank you.
And it's great that you have internet. Really seemingly stable internet.
I'm so surprised. I barely have internet. If I just disappear, you know why? Because it's very shaky. very shaky Wi-Fi I'm on right now.
I think it's awesome.
How's things in the future right now? Things still
the things in the future, they're going well. It's a beautiful Tuesday here in Australia.
I see you guys are able to like go out and like be amongst each other at this point, right? Like it seems like
all the states of Australia we can get out except for Victoria. They're in stage 4 lockdown, but the rest of us we're out and about. I know they're doing it tough, really tough.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason America's not doing it tough is because we're just kind of ignoring it, like looking the other way. Pretending like it's not a big problem.
Yeah, it kind of is, right?
Yeah, I would say for somebody, for certain people it is. I have at least 2 family members that have had it recently. So,
oh wow,
it's a thing. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a very real thing. So, anyway, so social media and the health, like the health it has on our effects. No, the effects it has on our health.
On our mental health. I think on our mental health rather than our physical health, where we, if you spend too much on social media.
Hold on.
Okay.
See,
we're holding.
My neck is going to hurt, and my thumbs are going to start twitching because I'm just constantly going at it on the social medias. So it can be physical. I'm just saying.
Totally. Yeah. I just didn't know we were covering that today.
I think to cover both physical and mental is beyond our capabilities. So we're gonna concentrate on social media and mental health. So Sam was kind enough to find some great videos on the topic, and we realized right away that it's such a great subject because I always say that I feel like I'm living 2 lives. And I think we all are. We're living like our real lives, with our friends, family, in-person lives. And then we're living this life online, right? Where we have more control over how we present ourselves, whether that be, filters, that sort of thing. the lady, what is her name? She's a social media expert, Bailey Parnell, who's in this TEDx video. She calls it the highlight reels, right? Which we're all just seeing sort of the best of each other, how we've decided to frame our lives. And I think that leads to a lot of what I call compare and despair, right? We're constantly seeing other people's successes and vacations. Like here I am, like from my little cabin in the middle of nowhere. I mean, that could cause somebody some anxiety because they're like, well, why am I not in a cabin in the middle of nowhere? She uses that as like sort of an example. Like we're looking at other people and the cars they purchase and the houses they live in and, you know, the accomplishments of their children and the accomplishments in their business. And it's hard not to turn that around and compare it to our lack of vacations and our lack of accomplishments. So it's, you know, I completely understand why it could lead to some mental health issues.
Yeah. Although she did break it down into 4 different stresses. And I think that each one has its own stresses and anxiety around it. And what I liked about it was her breaking it down so that we can understand it a little bit more, because I think that what we really need to take out of this is that social media isn't the thing that causes the anxiety. It's how we actually interact with it. You know, it's like saying that cars kill people. Well, only if someone gets into it drunk or speeds or, you know, drives badly. And social media is the same. It's how do we interact with it and how do we take responsibility for the way that we're using it?
Yeah, Sharon shares that for me, it's not so much the highlight reel, but the time and energy it zaps out of you, and it can fly by really fast while you're playing. You know, especially like you wake up in the morning and like I don't know about you, but like I check my emails real quick, like you know, mostly deleting emails that I just want to see but don't need. And jump on social media to see like the first 3 or 4 things. And then if I'm not careful, I'll just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And then next thing you know, I'm seeing posts from 3 days ago.
I think,
Wow.
I think you and Sharon make a good point, because I was thinking about this before this episode, because I was looking at the research on depression as it's related to social media. And a lot of the studies, there's some really compelling statistics, actually very frightening statistics on the rate of depression and how directly correlating with time on social media. But those studies are all with people younger than us. So Gen Z and millennials, there have been a lot of social media studies relating to mental health, but that got me thinking, how is it affecting people that are a little bit older that maybe didn't grow up, you know, with social media, but certainly are now really, you know, involved online and on various platforms. And I was thinking of the time suck issue, like how it's so easy just to realize you've wasted hours and hours of time, and how that becomes sort of a negative cycle in itself, right? Or that we feel like we're doing something because we made a social media post and got some likes. Like we feel like we accomplished something in our business or our lives, but we didn't really accomplish that much.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that it's different, right? Based on how old you are.
Yeah, I agree. And I hadn't really thought about that, Jen, because I know that the way I use social media is very different to the way that the teenagers that I know, and I can only talk about the teenagers that I know, and they will pick up their phone and interact with people all night.
Yes.
So, you know, they stay awake for ridiculous hours. Is the anxiety from the social media or is it from a lack of sleep? Like, I don't know. I think that they could play hand in hand.
That's a good point. That is a very good point.
That is a good point. I think that might be above our thought.
Oh, like. Absolutely. But I was just what Jen was talking about, because I do not go on social media all night. You guys know how early I go to bed. When I messaged you the last night, I'm like a nana. It's like 9 o'clock. Good night.
I'm right there with you, Sam. I'm in bed at 9 o'clock as well. One of the standout quotes that I wrote down from Bailey Parnell, the social media expert, is she said, "It is not the dark side of social, it is the dark side of people." And I thought that was a really good point, that I think it's very easy to say, oh, so social media is causing depression and it's causing these issues. And but it's really the people, right, that are causing,
Mm-hmm.
it's the people on social media who are bullying or, being antagonistic or making people feel less than. So, and I don't know, we can't solve this issue, obviously, but I think.
Oh, no, totally.
Yeah, but I think what, Bailey pointed out is that, really the first, we're not going to be able to go, abstinence on social media is not really practical. So it's in our lives. It's here to stay. So she said the first step is to just recognize that there's an issue, that it can affect your mental health. It can affect how you feel about yourself, your business, and it could have, some detrimental effects, and you can avoid these detrimental effects.
Absolutely. Can we talk about the four areas that she brought up? Because I think that the four areas are all quite different. And I think that if we understand them and understand how they're affecting us, then it's a lot easier to be aware and maybe change up what we're doing.
Yeah.
So the number one stressor she talked about on social media is the highlight reel, which we've just talked about. Yeah. And the highlight reel, this is a funny one for me because everyone says, talks about it as it's a bad thing. But I think, again, it's how we take it because, like you said, Jen, someone could think, oh, Jen's in a cabin and I feel really bad because it's not me. Or the highlight reel can be, wow, it's really cool that Jen's taken some time out in her business. That, that inspires me to maybe change up something in my business. So I think the highlight reels I like it. I like the highlight reel.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem with the. Yeah, well, I do too, because I think it's like putting something positive in the universe. But okay, so I'll probably post on social media when I get back, because I don't like posting on social media when I'm away, like advertising them away. And you'll see mountain views and wild ponies and all this stuff. But what you're not going to see is that our vehicle check engine light went on like right before we were going to leave, and we had to rush it into the vehicle. You're not going to see me yelling at Thor because I wanted to turn around halfway through the hike because my feet were killing me, and arguing about that in front of other people on the trail. I did finish the hike.
I don't know. I might want to see that.
Yes. Yeah, bring out the camera. Tell Thor to bring out the camera. So you
absolutely.
You don't see the cabin down the way, like it's not close to us, but just in the turn that has the Confederate flag. You're not going to see you're not going to see that the cabin is super cute, but it doesn't have air conditioning and it's like 80 degrees here. You're not going to see all that because I'm giving you the highlight reel, right? I'm not going to give you so I think that's the problem, is that it's maybe not it's not the full story. Yeah. It's the very edited version. It's a very edited story.
So wait, you don't have air conditioning?
I think it's okay as long as you realize that. There's no air conditioning. I mean, I'm high up on. We have a cross breeze, but yeah, you have to kind of open the windows. It's fine.
Wow,
it's
fresh air.
It's fresh air. All fresh air.
We would have thought.
It's all fresh air, but you have to keep the windows open at night, and we are like really isolated. And so I've read way too many like crime fiction books that I'm just
we should not talk about that. It's not good for your mental health, Jen.
Not good for my mental health. Every noise I hear, I'm like, is that somebody breaking into the cabin in the middle of nowhere? But yeah, and I think as long as we realize, like, we're seeing the highlight reel, we're not seeing, the whole story, because we're all editing and showing the more positive things, which I don't think is bad. Like you said, I think it's good. Like, I love seeing people's vacation photos. I love it. I love it.
Totally.
I love seeing people on vacation, having a good time. I just love it because they're always so happy. And I don't know. I feel like it's a little contagious. Like, I feel like I went on
I think that's where we have to, exactly what we were talking about before, be responsible for the way we think about this, because, I know that all three of us are quite authentic, and we don't just share the highlight reel. We share things sometimes that haven't gone quite right, or maybe some different perspectives that aren't always that 100% happy, shiny, positive. But we don't want to be sharing the bad things all the time either, because it's just like, I'm sure you've seen people that are constantly whinging and complaining on Facebook, and it's like, unfollow. I don't want to see that either.
Yeah.
So, I think it's just about being authentic and always, I don't know, being authentic. And I was going to say put a positive spin, but then that's wrong as well, because that's just my personality and that's authentic to me, not necessarily for other people.
Well, I
Yeah.
think there's a sense of inspiration that comes with that, right? Like I remember, sharing all the pictures of me going out running, right, every single day and all that, and having people reach out to me and be like, "Hey, you're inspiring me to go out and go running, or go see other parks and things like that." And so I think it is up to the personal responsibility. I think that even when they are lowlights, they are still it's still a highlight. If that's what you're choosing to
Yep.
share, like literally,
Uh-huh.
Facebook could be called the highlight reel. And that's there you go. There's a new social media platform that you could start up. That's free of charge. But it does help inspire other people to go and do the things. And if people are feeling that way, well, then they should probably reach out for some like professional help, right? Like
Absolutely.
there's plenty of opportunities for that. And if it's really affecting you. But like to me, like the things I share is to inspire other people, whether it's running. Now, with that said, like I've been running for like the last like 15 days straight, and I haven't shared a single picture about it. And funny enough, a friend of mine was like, I forget, there was like a picture and a meme, and he's like, "Is it even running if I don't share the picture? Like, is it even worth doing? Like, what's the point if I'm not going to share, post a picture?" So, but it's up to that it's up to that person. For me, like I just
Absolutely.
I haven't had time because I'm not taking my phone anymore. I just take my watch. So there's no. I wish they would put a camera in the Apple Watch, please.
So that's the highlight reel. Let's talk
That's
about
the highlight reel.
the second stressor, social currency. I think this is a big one. I know so many people that will post a video or a picture, and if they don't get enough likes or comments, they'll delete it. I'm like, what?
Well, I've done that, but not with pictures. I've done that with statements. Things that I know are kind of maybe racy or borderline on on like right on the line. And if in about 15 minutes to 30 minutes, if it doesn't get a single like, comment, or anything, like, yeah, I just pull it down because I know that it didn't resonate with the people that are probably seeing it. So I've
Okay.
done, and I've done it, maybe I could count on one hand. Now, I did a couple of weeks ago, someone I'm friends with actually reached back out to me and said, "Hey, can you post that back up because that was hilarious." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. It didn't."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this lady, this Bailey Parnell, she makes the point that we're the product. And when we put something out there and we don't get the social currency, the likes, the comments, the shares that we want, then we take our own selves off the shelf when we delete our posts. And I thought, I'm like you, Joe. I've taken stuff down before. It doesn't happen often, but I've taken stuff down because I kind of know what sort of reaction to expect, and if I don't get that reaction, I'm like, something's wrong. Either this is just like crap content, or maybe I thought it was, more impactful than it really was. I will say that whatever I post like that's business related, get on my personal, like tends to get a lot less reaction than, pictures of Meatball, my dog. He's like, he wins every time. But yeah, I think it's fine to delete your posts. I mean, to me, it's just editing. Like sometimes you put something out there and you just want to take it back. I think that's fine. But I think you do have to have sort of that, that awareness of you being the product.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have taken posts down too. And it's usually because in my brain, I've meant one thing and it maybe hasn't come out quite right. And someone else thinks it's something. Oh, I'm a shocker for that. And then I go, oh, that's not what I meant. Delete. Because it's open to so much, other people seeing it in different ways. So I have done that, but I haven't deleted something just because it's only had a couple of likes, because, exactly like the person in this video was saying, we're allowing someone else to attribute value to us. And that's very disempowering. That is not an empowering place to be.
No, that is not.
Didn't they turn off likes or something or you can't see your like counts in Australia for
Instagram? Yeah, you can't see the like count.
I think
you can click in. You can click in and sort of count yourself and see, but no, they have not turned it back on.
You know what I think is empowering, and I will give myself credit. I am very good at this. Is that I absolutely do not feel the need to engage with everyone that comments on something that I post.
Okay.
So for For instance, I don't know, like maybe last month or 2 months ago, I posted a video it was a science video. It took place in a lab where they tested the efficacy of masks and whether or not they prevented transmission. It was a very scientific study, and it proved that they did. And I was like, yeah, the only thing I'm spreading is science. And I shared the video. And I had, a positive response, and, a couple people, that I know, might have a different political affiliation than I do, which I have zero tolerance of that. Not because they have a different political view, but because I don't think the virus should be politicized. But so I got some comments, kind of like, contrary to what I posted, and I didn't feel a need to comment back. I didn't feel a need to reply. I didn't feel, and to me, I felt that was, I feel like that's very like not just empowering, but I just think probably a mature approach where I don't feel like I have to. I don't have to answer you just because you asked me a question or because you contradicted what I post. I don't have to. You don't have to reply. In fact, I can delete your comment if I want to. Like, I don't engage. I don't have time to get in arguments I do not get in arguments on social media. You want to argue with me? You got to come. You got to go head to head with me on Zoom. I'll argue if you want, but I'm not going to do it on social media. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? If people comment on your post, do you feel inclined to reply?
I think it depends on in the instance that you're talking about, probably not. But generally, I do reply to everyone on my posts, or at least acknowledge that they've interacted with me. I very much like to treat social media like I am in real person. And I think that that's really important. However, if someone really has a go, and it happened, I posted something earlier this year, and it was to do with global warming and the bushfires we're having in Australia. And the post went off, and it got really angry, and people were not only taking it from the comments, but into my message inbox and abusing me. At that point, no, that's not okay. I'm an adult. I'm happy to have a debate. I'm happy to be open to hearing what you've got to say. I'm happy to learn. But on the other side of that, I'm also okay to make up my own mind. Like, I think that it's the way that we interact. So I'm not into bullying at all. And if someone has put a comment like that, I will not engage further.
No, you do not have to engage. Oh, I guess the point is you don't have to engage. You can make your own rules on engagement, and whatever it is, whatever rules that give you peace of mind and don't get you down. Like, I see a lot of friends on social media going head to head with people, comment. And they're debating, they're arguing, they have, diabolically opposing views. And I'm even just getting sucked in reading it. And I'm like, this is a waste of my time. But I'm like, they actually had to type all of that. And like, think of all the time they're wasting, and they're never going to change each other's mind. It's really hard to have a human conversation through, Facebook or social media comments, right? Because it's just a two-dimensional conversation. It's so easy to misread the tone or the intention. So it leads to even more misunderstanding. Yeah, there's no body language. So here you are, you're already starting at a difference of opinion. And now you are just engaged in a form of communication that opens up a door for many more layers of misunderstanding. So that's another reason I don't engage in anything that's, controversial, or if somebody disagrees with me, I'm not going to engage in those comments because it's just, it's too vulnerable to just blowing up into something that's not productive for anybody.
Totally.
I mean, my go-to is this, like, just that's what I post, because people are just, I don't know. It is fucking, I mean, a lot of times I go straight to the comments.
I have been known to do that before.
Especially ads, right? Like Facebook ads for like different companies and stuff. Like when the reaction is not positive, and you just
Facebook ads bring out the not nice people, and their profile picture is usually an animal. It's not normally a person.
It's not a person. No, it's not a person. It's some picture of something, some piece of art or some piece of drawing or an animal or something.
Yeah, we don't get caught with that. Yeah.
No. So why don't we hit over to number 3 here?
Number 3 is FOMO. Now, she talked about a stat, and when I say she, is it Darnell, Jen? I didn't write down her name.
It's Bailey Parnell.
Bailey.
Parnell.
Oh my goodness. And you reckon you're the one that's got an airhead today. Holy moly.
And then
I wrote it down. That's the reason.
I'm so sorry, Bailey. She said there's a stat saying 7 out of 10 students would get rid of their social accounts if it were not for fear of being left out of the loop. And I think that is so sad.
I remember watching a documentary or something talking about this, and like there's a thing. It's literally a thing to take a picture, a group photo of people, and then tag everyone but one person in that group.
Really?
Yeah, that's a thing. And I think it was like a YouTube video I was watching or something on like a Vox thing or something like that. And yeah, that's a thing. That's how like deep people want to cut other people. Like they're just like, we're gonna take this big group photo, everyone's happy, and then like we're gonna tag every person except that person that we don't like.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, this is
I'm
teenagers,
speechless.
right?
That is awful.
Mostly
no wonder
teenage
there's so many people
girls,
with anxiety and
but-
depression.
Oh my gosh.
That
I feel
is
I feel so fortunate. I have my nieces who are teenagers. Well, one's in college, one's about to graduate. But they're like so sweet. Like none of this, I didn't hear about any of this with them, or they didn't participate. And, so that's not my whole experience is 2 teenagers. Right. But I'm so glad that neither of them seem to have gone through that. And they're on social media. And I always felt like they conducted themselves beautifully on social media. So I'm so proud of them for that. But Mean Girls, there have been Mean Girls, forever, right? Like there were Mean Girls when I was in high school. I'm sure there were Mean Girls when you guys were in high school. They just have a broader platform to be mean.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
So, so I think it's more important than ever that, parents really, they really have to play a role in this, right? And like knowing what your kids are doing, how they're participating on social media. Obviously, it's hard for parents to be in all places at once. There's so many ways that kids can get on the internet and participate in a negative way on social media. So I don't know the answer, but we've had instances of suicide, and this is not like a serious. There's serious consequences to this.
I think that this FOMO plays out a bit different. Obviously we're talking about business owners, and I see this playing out with people posting, and I'm actually, this is a bit of a funny topic and I don't want to open it up too much, but people that are constantly posting how much they earn. That's how I see this playing out in business owners. And I'm seeing it so much at the moment. People say, I've earned this much this week, or, I've made this much off one client, or, I've just done $1 million in 4 months. And it's just constant, all of the numbers, all of the time.
Well, I agree. And I have been keeping this in my mind lately after seeing this meme, but we all have to remember that revenue is vanity, right? Like maybe you did make that much, but how much did you spend on Facebook ads? Like what was your profit? Like what did you actually walk away with? So I get it. I don't like that whole let's put this number out there to make us look, successful. And then, maybe there's that other person that's like, oh my God, like I struggled to make, $3,000 this month. Yeah, that's a good example of FOMO, Sam.
Yeah. You've got something brewing there, Joe. Why don't you share with us what's brewing?
Yeah.
I think the opposite, right? Well, two things, right? So you're we talked about it. It's the highlight reels, right? So if you're if the only thing you're posting is about how successful like business is going and things like that, then that's probably going to turn a lot of people off. But I don't know. But there's just some people that's what their whole thing is about, right? Like they're gearing their whole thing, and it's a form of not really necessarily gloating, but like, hey, I could do this for you, and that's the whole coaching world thing that we kind of went down the rabbit hole of a couple weeks ago. So if you didn't listen to the Entrepreneur episode, you should totally go and do that. I don't know. I'm a little less. angry about that, or not angry, but just like side eye about it, just because I feel like there's a sense of probably doing it for making them feel better, hopefully using it to encourage other people, inspiring other people to like, oh man, like I need to go and do it. And if that Jameau could do it, why can't I do it, right?
Yeah,
And then the other sense of like diving deeper into the fear of missing out part. Look, I wish I could kind of step away from Facebook. Like there was times when I was younger, probably about 8 years ago or so, that I removed the Facebook app from my phone. Like anytime I wasn't on, like, it's funny, I would take it off when I wasn't on vacation, but I would put it on when I was on vacation so I wouldn't have to bring my laptop. Now remember, like you're talking like 2010, 11, 12. So it's a bit of a different world then. But I would put it on there so that I could share what what was going on while we were away. But when I wasn't there, or I would take it off, so I'm not sitting there like endlessly scrolling and like, oh, I'm at a stoplight. Let me just pull my phone out and see what's going on, like things like that. So. Yeah, well, it's one of the reasons why when I go running now, I don't take my phone, because I'm like too itching to just pull out my phone. Like, okay, I'm not running at the moment. Let me pull my phone out, and now I find myself walking slower.
Joe's looking for that dopamine hit.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and it's convenient to have the watch, because at least the watch is giving me any notifications of like messages coming through, and communications, but not like all the other stuff. Like I don't have. What about you? I turned off notifications, so no social media gives me notifications on my phone.
Yeah, I don't have any notifications,
Yeah, I don't have
at all.
notifications.
Yeah.
Too distracting.
I've got too much. I got shit to do.
Yeah.
But let me just say about that money thing, Joe, I agree with you. And I do talk about it occasionally in a way to help other people know that this is a possibility for you. I'm talking about the people, and I found this person yesterday where every single post was about how much she earned. Not her clients, not how much she was helping people, but I'm so amazing, I earned this much. And it just left such a sour taste in my mouth. Every single post.
Somebody's going to say, "Oh, well, I want to be."
It's going to attract the people that give her money so she can keep posting that. Hello. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I think there's a risk of like just making it seem like it's so easy. Just by I made 25,000 this month. I mean, just by saying it like that is just, I think it automatically just seems like, oh, it's like she snapped her fingers and made that money. And I think that's another, dangerous rabbit hole to go down. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Darn FOMO.
Totally. So that was number 3. And the 4th one is online harassment. And 40% of adults have experienced online harassment. I would actually suggest that it's probably more than 40% now. And she's saying 73% have witnessed it. And I would say that is definitely higher too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet you're right.
Yeah.
But who's experienced online harassment?
I have. So you had too? Oh,
no.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
But share your story, Joe.
So I gave a talk. It was at a word camp. It was at the United Nations back in 2016, 2017, something like that. Okay. And I gave a talk on podcasting. At the end, there was a lady who had a whole lot of questions related to transcribing podcasts and how they need to be transcribed for people who are deaf. And I tried my best to like, okay, transcribing can be expensive. Transcribing can be very time consuming. And she just kept coming like back. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. All right. Like I don't have all the answers, right? Like to me, I feel like we as I'm not going to go all down that rabbit hole. But anyway, what happened was, what I didn't know what was going on while I was standing up in front of a whole bunch of people, like trying to hold it together, which people afterwards came up to me and said, "You did a great job there. Congratulations, holding your ground there." There was a whole Twitter storm brewing that started that day and went for the next 3 full days. In fact, one of those days I went to visit AWeber. Tom Tate was working there at the time as one of the marketing people, and it was, I didn't even want to like go online at all, like, because it was just an endless supply of people, because I was being told that I hate deaf people and all this ridiculous like nonsense. And so all this, and then it turned out, like, 'cause well, I won't go there either, but it turned out after the fact that the reason that she was so hard on it is because she owned a transcription company. And I mean, she was deaf as well, but she owned a transcription company. So it like 3 days of really feeling terrible about myself and like not being able to look at my phone, because at the time I think I did have Twitter notifications for replies or ats, just so if somebody interacts, I see that. But yeah, it was not good. I could see why, tough. Like, if it didn't stop, like it was very difficult. And I do not envy anybody that's in that position.
No, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, that is tough. So how did you handle it? Did you reply to these tweets, or did you just like?
I think I replied to
ignore them, let them ride out.
Them, but I realized after maybe like my 4th or 5th reply that this wasn't going to go away, and I just ended up deleting all of my replies, because they were just like, every time I said something, they were like, "Well, you don't know what you're talking about," and blah 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 blah, and I'm like, okay, how about I think at one point I said, like, please, like, educate me, send me some documentary or something, or something, so I can understand better. I apologize that I'm not well versed in something that I have not come in much contact with in my life. So yeah, that's also. So I deleted that those replies, and then just left. Ended up blocking those people. But like I said, even the people I blocked, there was more people just standing right behind them, because it's Twitter, right? It's anonymous, and I think that's kind of like the difference. Yeah. Right, between like a Facebook, which can still be anonymous if people really want to live their life like that, but versus Twitter, like, I have 20 Twitter accounts. I'll just pull up another one and start going at you there.
The keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
they can be nasty. They can be nasty.
It's a good point, Joe. I bet if you had all of those people, on a Zoom, like face to face, the discussion would have probably been more productive, probably not as, volatile. I think it's that anonymity brings out the worst in people sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, they're just it's like the thing is, like, they try to vilify you in a way that's like, 3 days ago I didn't know anything about this, and this did not even register as a thing in my mind, other than like, hey, like, the way I saw it back then was like, we should lean into like Google, we should lean into Facebook to get better transcription, auto transcription, like, make that better. And of course her answer was, no, no, we shouldn't do that. You should pay for transcription. But of course at the time I didn't know she had a transcription service that she was trying to sell. And I'm like, in what planet does arguing with somebody on stage make sense? I don't.
Everyone has an angle.
Absolutely.
Really
Absolutely.
What about you, Sam? What was you said you had some bad experiences as well?
Yeah, I mean, it just nothing as huge as Joe's, but it does happen every now and again where someone just like really comes at you. And I can't think, well, apart from the bushfire post I was talking about just earlier, I can't think of, anything off the top of my head, but, it has happened. And it can actually really send you a bit wobbly for a few days. You can really doubt yourself and really pull back. And, I can't think of a post, but I can remember the feeling of just like I just want to go and put the doona over my head and pretend the whole world's not there. It can be not nice at all.
Yeah. Everyone has an opinion.
Absolutely.
And a keyboard ready to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that really the reason that we're talking or that Bailey's even talking about these 4 stresses is being aware of them. These things are going to happen, but be aware how they affect us and the way we act rather than, get caught down them, because technology can magnify problems. Social media can magnify these problems. However, and I know we can't even move into this because we've sort of spoken about this topic for a long time, but social media also can really change and magnify the impact that we can make in the world. And it's about being aware how we're interacting with the mediums. And I think that social media is fantastic. It's how I've met you guys. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't have met either of you. And so I've met amazing people all over the world because of it. So I choose to use it to meet new people and really magnify the impact that I'm here to make.
I love it. I like social media as well. I mean, I've had many more positive experiences through social media, just like you, Sam. I'm glad it's here. It's just such a great way to connect, interact, educate, share passions. Again, I think it's the way you use it, how you choose to engage with it. And if you realize the amount of control that you have over your own social media, everything from like who you follow, who you allow to follow you, what you choose in your news feed, what you interact with. I mean, you're actually training these social media platforms. So if you interact with, content that stresses you out, you're going to see more of that type of content. So train the social media platform to bring you more kitten videos. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And you don't have to, you don't have to engage with everyone. Just because they disagree with you doesn't mean you have to engage. I think there's, we all want engagement, but keep it positive. Keep it positive, because if you go down that negative rabbit hole, you just end up feeling icky, and you're probably arguing with somebody that just you would never choose to be friends with in real life.
Exactly. And who doesn't actually care. So
yeah.
Totally.
So I think the last thing I would like to bring up is like, how do each of us balance our personal use of social media versus our business side of social media? Because I think that kind of ties this whole thing, up here. And because like I was saying, I would love to get Facebook off of my phone, but then I think like there's times where like I'm standing in line for something, or like oh man, I wish I could just like easily. So then I take it off my phone, and then I'm pulling up like Safari to like pull it up in mobile Safari, and it just doesn't look very good. It doesn't load very fast. It's not great. So I was like, oh man, I got to download the app and then like log back in and do the 2-factor, this whole rigmarole. Like, what, like, how, I think one of the ways that I've looked at doing it, though, of getting it off, is maybe moving to a different platform that I could like write on Instagram, right? Like post, like, because I mostly want to post pictures and then have it co-post to Facebook and co-post to Twitter. So then they're like, okay, I don't have to have Facebook on my phone. I don't have to have Twitter on my phone. I'm just gonna put it out there, right? Like I'll just put it and also say like Twitter, man, Twitter is tough. Like I could see why people don't want to be on Twitter at all. Like I wish I could not have a Twitter account at all. Like, because it's terrible. In fact, PewDiePie, who I've mentioned on the show before, has 106 million, YouTube subscribers and all, and has got out of Twitter. He deleted his Twitter and is not going back. He's like, I'm just done with that place, because it's just everybody wants to cancel everything. Everybody has an opinion, and it's just not great. It's very toxic. I think Facebook is because it's more of a closed loop of, mostly your friends. I mean, you could do that on Twitter too, but you kind of, I feel like you're kind of missing the boat a little bit if you do that. So, from a business standpoint, like I don't know. I just hate having it on my phone, but I don't have much of a choice because it makes life easier than having to go to my laptop or go to my computer or go to my iPad and do things from there.
Well,
What's your
first of
take
all, I
on that?
think we all have a choice. We can do whatever we like.
That's right.
We
Well,
do.
yeah.
We do. We do. I'm going to
You
stand
have
by
a
that
choice.
one. I won't back down from that one.
You can delete Twitter as soon as you get off this podcast, Joe. And
Exactly.
the world will still rotate on its axis and the sun will
Uh-huh.
still rise in the morning.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I do have it on my phone because it is easier if I'm on the fly, but I don't open it up every 2 seconds. And the other thing I want to say is if everyone in the world just went onto some sort of platform and posted their stuff and there was no interaction, then what would be the use of social media?
I mean, I do get on people when they like don't they don't interact with the comments. I'm not gonna name names, but I know some people that like they'll post something, they'll get tons of comments, tons of likes, then they no interaction back, no comments back.
I know
no
someone like it,
anything.
and I stopped interacting on their posts because I'm like,
Yep.
it's all about you. You're just shouting, you're just making a noise, and I'm not willing to interact with that. That's not how I use social media. So that's
Yeah.
that I'm
That's fair.
all about that. Yeah.
That is fair. Yeah, I don't know about balance. I guess I just don't feel as beholden to the social media. Like I'll go weeks without posting on my personal, because I don't want it to drive my existence. I want to, live life, interact with my friends and family, authentic, like that always takes priority, I think, than posting on social media personally. Business, I do it for business reasons, but I can get help with that. I don't have to be the one, doing every single, post creation and content creation. So I guess that's how I balance it. I just don't feel like I have to be there every single second of every single day. It's not like I don't, check in like multiple times a day, but I don't want to like check out of real life in order to like be on social media. I just don't feel that.
Don't feel the need for it to rule your world.
Feel the need. Yes, I guess that's exactly what I'm saying. But not very well, but yes.
No, you do it just fine.
Rambling on. Thank you for summing it up for me very well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's a big topic. It's a huge topic.
Oh,
Felix
look
says
at Felix.
I separate my
wow.
personal from
Mr.
business
Incredible.
and pay attention, but it's not my priority to post all gets posted.
Yeah.
Did I read that right? I felt.
I don't know. I'm not quite.
Okay. Well, I'm not alone. Thank you.
not quite get that.
Yeah. No. There's. I mean, there's a lot to it, and I think being. Well, Jen, I wanted to ask you this because you used to run Social Media Rescue, right? And how many clients did you run into that like you had to like completely restructure how they were going about posting things? Because I mean, I know at least one company that was like, oh, we're going to create a Facebook page, and they create a personal profile, and I'm like,
oh my gosh, like a lot of it was so much like cleaning it up. Like it was not unusual for a client to come and like they had 4 or 5 like Facebook page, like business profiles. One they started, didn't know what they were doing. Then started another one, couldn't remember the password, start another one. And so just cleaning that mess up. But a lot of them weren't doing anything, so they would come to my agency because nothing was happening and they didn't know, they didn't understand social media and they didn't want to learn. So but they knew it was important. So that was our typical client at the time. So they just didn't want to touch it. Because a lot of these were business owners. I would say the majority of the clients were over 40. And they were just like, you know what, just do it for me. I know it's important, but I don't want to spend my day posting on social media. I have no idea what to say anyway. That was like a conversation all the time. So I don't think you have that problem, Joe. I think you Oh,
no.
I'm here.
Oh.
I'm here.
Oh, there we go.
Were you
froze. I don't
present, Joe?
know.
I didn't
I think I
experience that.
was, because both of you
Okay.
dropped out at once. So either you both dropped out or I dropped out.
You froze. I was
froze.
like, oh.
You froze.
So anyway, any last thoughts that anybody wants to share before we move to who's getting Jen's lunch money this week?
No, I think I've made my point. I think that social media is definitely about impact. Use it in a good way, understand how it changes your perception, because it can really alter your reality, but be aware of it.
Yeah.
Just be nice out there, people. Be nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Right?
Just that.
Well, keep in mind you're talking to other people, right? It's like you're not talking to the glass and metal sitting in front of you. You're talking to a person. So like pretend like you aren't standing, 2,000 miles away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, pet peeve time. I don't care how many people you unfriended. People are like, I unfriended 100 people today. I didn't believe in my political views. Nobody cares how many people you unfriended.
And you don't need to tell us either that we're lucky because we got saved. Don't really care.
You're
There we
getting
go.
this
That's my grind my gears. Yeah.
That's my grind my gears.
Exactly. That's when I'm normally like, oh, I'll just unfriend you now, make it easier for everyone.
I'm always like, I barely know you. Why did you keep me? Like
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Well, maybe because they're watching you, right? They see what you post and they're like, I love Meatball. I'm gonna keep, I want to keep Meatball in my life.
I don't know. Like, do they really go through and like look at every single person and like, I mean, who has time for that?
If they made a post about it, I mean, I know I've gone through and gotten rid of anybody who their profile is shut down. Like they shut their profile down.
Yeah, I do that.
So like they just become like a blank face, right? Because you want to clean up. And I've made 80, 120, unfriends because of that.
Yep.
I don't even know who they were because their profile is deactivated.
Yeah.
So
I know. Yeah. I know a lot of people will delete people that who are voting for the opposite person that they're voting for, and they'll delete them. But I like to know what the other side is thinking, so I keep them on.
Exactly. I will snooze those people after a while, though, depending on what kind of
sometimes it's
crazy, how far off the deep end they're going. And then if I'm seeing their stuff all the time, like every couple of posts is like another thing that they post, and I'm just like, all right, like that's enough.
Yeah, you have to look after your mental health.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Our responsibility. Totally.
It is. And it's Jen's responsibility to tell us who she's giving her lunch money to this week.
Okay, well, I knew I had to come up with something, so I was looking at like where I was, spending my lunch money, and I realized that Thor and I just enlisted this service called Hungry Harvest, and it's like a CSA. You get fruits and vegetables delivered to your home weekly, and these are supposedly the like kind of imperfect fruits and vegetables that would normally just go to waste because they don't meet like some, the standards set by grocery stores, commercial grocery stores. But it's all perfectly good. And actually, I haven't been able to find anything that was like doesn't look like I would expect it to look. Everything looks great. It's all organic, and the reason I love it is because it ensures that I'm eating my fruits and vegetables, because I'm not the greatest about doing that or keeping it stocked. And anyway, it was just as a means to eat healthier and to challenge myself to try different vegetables and to really sort of increase the variety of whole foods that I'm eating. And it's really helped because you have to eat it because you paid for it. You don't want it to go to waste. So there's, we've been cooking more and trying more recipes, and I'm definitely eating more fruits and vegetables than I was. So it's been completely worth the, fairly modest investment to have it delivered to the door. And so convenient. It comes every Friday, and it's been great. I love it so much. There are several of these services like Hungry Harvest. I just happened to use Hungry Harvest, had good reviews, and I liked sort of what they had to offer. So
I love this, Jen. Yeah, I love this. I love this
too.
because fruit and vegetables have been supermarkets and grocery stores have dictated what a fruit and vegetable looks like, and it's not the
Yes.
case. Like they're a natural thing. They change in nature. They change
Yes.
size and we've been led to believe that there's something wrong with them, where in actual fact there's nothing wrong with them at all. And
Nothing wrong.
so I think like the biggest landfill is food waste. I'm pretty sure.
It's a
So
lot.
this
Wow,
this is
that's
so good.
depressing.
I know, right? So we're saving all these little fruit and vegetables that's been cared for by the farmers. I love it.
Yeah, and eating healthier. So anyway, I love it. And you all know I hate going into stores. I hated going into stores before the pandemic. And now it's even, more of an issue. So anything that I can get delivered, to the house it's just something that, I talk a lot about delegating because I have a virtual assistant agency, but I believe in delegation in every aspect of your life.
Yep.
Delegate as much as you can afford to delegate. So this is something that I'm delegating, right? I'm delegating this this shopping for fruits and vegetables. It's just, I don't have to worry about it. Just now comes to my door. I don't have to worry about, going to a grocery store or ordering from Amazon or Whole Foods and making sure, I'm just settling for whatever they have in stock or what's on sale. So it's saving me time. And, I want to eat healthier. I want to be a healthier person. So it's doing double duty as far as I'm concerned.
I love it.
And I don't think it's any more expensive. From what I can tell. Yeah. It took my lunch money.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
That is awesome. So you get to customize what you're going to get?
You can. I haven't done much customizing, but I think you can go in and you can you see what's coming and you can take something out and ask for more of I don't want grapes, but give me more apples. You can do that sort of thing.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been a great episode of the Business Geeks podcast. It's way longer than our past couple of episodes at 56 minutes, but that's okay. It's as long as it needs to be, and that is the important part, right? Baked to perfection. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Business Geeks podcast, please feel free to share it with the Business Geek in your life. Send us your questions and suggestions to questions@businessgeekspodcast.com. Catch us next Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and Tuesday, 7 a.m. Australian Eastern Time. Everybody, have a great week and take